Well, hello and welcome. Welcome to Leaders in Light, Love, and Legacy. This is a bold new platform for female change makers, and it's hosted by me. Happy to be with you today. I'm Joy Ruffin, and my work is as a divine, feminine leader that's all about equality, power, and making changes for us as women. But we're not sexist. It's all about the divine masculine and the divine feminine. But today we're going to be talking with my featured guest speaker. And this is on a platform that we are just so happy to be a part of because it's kind of new age, it's kind of pioneering. It's for the female trailblazers and the front runners and those who are out to make a difference and leave a legacy. So my guest, oh my goodness, I'm so excited to have this lady here. I've interviewed her once before, but her background and how she comes to do what she does and does it so brilliantly and lovingly, I want to share with you a little bit about her. She's a mental health and substance abuse counselor and so much more. Her comprehensive expertise spans utilization, and we'll get into all of that she does, including belonging, addiction, mood regulations, anger management, and it goes on and on and on. But Dr. Monica Hinton, just think of Clinton, and the last name is Hinton. She is a powerhouse, and most of her people that she works with and people like me who know and adore her, we just say Dr. Monica because that's how real and genuine she is. I could go on and on sharing with you a lot about her background. But if you're like most of us, and most of us in this leadership role, we want to hear from her. So Dr. Monica, hello and welcome. So great to have you here.
Well, hello. And I usually always start with good morning, good evening, good wherever you are.
Yes, I love that.
Because I know people are everywhere and listening everywhere. So I just want to greet you no matter where you might be. So hello.
I love that. And thank you for that. I do too, but I got carried away. But that's exactly right because, Dr. Monica, we are global. We go everywhere. And this is a platform that I'm just so excited to have you on and for you to be a part of it because we are trailblazers and front runners. But let's start off with one of my loves that when you first came to me, it's all about the superhero confidence. How did you come to that and this love of comic books?
Well, so I grew up in Houston, Texas, and I lived on a street where I was the only girl on the street, number one. And number two, we were the only Black family on the street. So needless to say, without really giving a whole lot of nastiness, it was pretty rough at times. And I was always a reader. I always had a book in my hand. I was always reading something. And my grandmother was an English teacher. And so at her house, she always had something to read. So I came across one of my uncle's old comic books. And I just called it a picture book because I didn't really understand fully what it was. And I just started reading it. And then when she realized that this was something that I enjoyed, every time we go to the store, we'd get me a new picture book. Well, eventually, I came across a picture book with this woman battling something. And because in my inside, I needed to protect myself because of the environment I was growing up in, I saw this woman fighting, and I said, I'm going to read this one. Well, turns out it was Wonder Woman. And so
that's so funny. That's so fitting.
So I started reading Wonder Woman, and I actually was the one to introduce my brother to comic books, and then he just took off from there and started going to, and he and his friends. So then one day he came home from a comic book convention he had attended with a friend, and he brought me the X-Men. And the leader of the X-Men was this Black woman named Storm.
Yes.
I said, forget Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, girl, I love you, but this lady's Black.
That is too funny. Oh,
I was like, she speaks to me. So therefore, and if anyone's ever familiar with the X-Men in and of themselves, they are
Hmm.
different uh, characters, different mutants. They're all
Yes,
mutants, but
yes,
they
yes.
all have a different power. They all come from different parts of the world, and they get along. And so I really like that idea of different people from different parts of the world being able to have the same goal of saving and protecting the world.
Oh
And
my.
and so and at the same time dealing with discrimination, because all through the whole X-Men storyline in the early days, it was about a lot dealing with discrimination of normal people not liking mutants. And so it spoke to me in so many different ways, and that was what brought me to loving comic books. And so that's how that went.
Well, I tell you, I'm grinning from ear to ear and I'm smiling and I can't stop chuckling because even though I had a love and have a love for comic books, it's somewhat different. But when you brought in, the black girl and the only black person in the neighborhood and the only girl, and how you have this love of reading and the environment, and then you bring in Wonder Woman, almost every generation understands and knows about Wonder Woman.
Of
But
course.
what you brought in, not many, even in this different generation, because I'm a happy senior, the X-Men and Storm was played by Holly Berry. So who would not? I love this story. The diversity is what you bring into the equation, of Dr.
Mhm.
Monica. And the
Mhm.
mutants and whatever, but discrimination, which we've both dealt with in so many different ways. And who was it again? I think I missed it, that introduced you to. Was it your brother to the comic books,
It
or
was my
your
brother to introduce me to
the X-Men?
the X-Men. Right.
Ah.
I discovered Wonder Woman by myself by getting to pick a comic book at the grocery store with my grandmother.
Now, let me ask you this, Dr. Monica, because I'm sure that everybody has a different reason why. I've already received your love of comic books, but what was it? And I'm just going to ask the question because what was it about Wonder Woman that embraced and embodied and ignited something in you at that time? What was it about Wonder Woman?
Well, not only was she a woman during that time, and if I can be very honest,
Please.
during that time, the blonde was the look of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
Wonder Woman has dark hair. And
Ah.
and so as a little person, seeing this woman with dark hair who was beautiful and yet powerful
Yes.
and was in control of her own life really spoke to me, because she wasn't blonde, and so that was the closest that I could get that I could connect with, because back then there weren't a lot of
No, no, no.
characters that were of any melanin back then,
Exactly.
and
Yes.
very very even fewer women. And mind you, I love Superman and Batman, and I love all of them,
Yeah.
but Wonder Woman, she was a woman, so I was like, oh, I
But
can dig this.
Dr. Monica, I have to tell you that I'm so happy that I asked you that question because you brought the Holy Grail to us in understanding, especially for women of color. And this is why we have dolls now that are black in every kind of coloration you can imagine. Because back in the day, my day especially, and obviously yours somewhat, they were all blonde and blue eyed and so on and so forth. And that's changing drastically. But what
Mhm.
you like was that she was a woman, dark hair, and she was powerful.
Mhm.
Powerful. That ignited something in you because you knew and felt that you could do the same in what you're doing. I think
Mhm.
that's very, very powerful. This love of the superhero and the confidence that it gave you, when did you start to really mushroom on that and build on that and embody that for you and the work that you're doing?
I have to say, I always embodied it. It was always a part of me, but
Yes.
to really speak it out loud to other people, I didn't. I sort of kept it secret because uh, you grow up in the South, and there's this expectation. And I went to
Mm-hmm.
Catholic school, so there's expectation of being a lady and being proper and being, very churchy, and and superheroes kick butt. They fight. And so that wasn't anything that I really, I guess, wanted to get out. And the women don't always, now, they drew them very sexual, which I didn't really
Yes.
like. but
Yes. Yes. Yes.
but now they actually are geared to fight. They dress them differently now. But back then they were fighting, and they were powerful. And growing up Southern, you're not necessarily supposed to be powerful. You're not necessarily supposed to be willing to fight. And yeah. And I
Dr.
did get,
Monica,
we get
you
into
are
a few fights as a little girl because, I was reading Wonder Woman and she was fighting folks. So I felt like,
you are bringing the gold here, but I want to dovetail back on something that you said because my background Southern, somewhat a combination, but the short of the story is that word lady.
mm-hmm,
Back in the day, more than today, it was aligned with proper and
mm-hmm,
church.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
most young girls who were feeling in their oats and wanting to explore that proper in church didn't kind of fit to the extent that it was supposed to. And then you said that the superheroes and the cartoon characters that they were kicking butt. So I
Yep.
get it. I really
Mhm.
get it. And you saw the power in them, and you could sense that something like that could come for you. How have they helped you to improve your self esteem, your self confidence, and how do you apply that to all the beautiful souls that you're working with now?
Right. So, you know how people say, "What would Jesus do?" I
Yes.
often say, "What would Storm do?"
Ah, I love
And
that.
and even though, those of us who are Christian, we believe Jesus as whom he is in God, and I do believe in Jesus, but ultimately Jesus is still a man. And
Yeah.
so I think about, okay, if Storm was in this situation, how would she handle it? And the even though I know Storm is fictional, they wrote her as being very diplomatic and very strong. And so those are the two things that I've learned from her, but then also learned from watching the strength of my grandmother and my mother, and my aunt is who's still living. My mother passed, but observing their strength and sort of connecting the dots and looking at how they deal with things and how Storm was written, and just absorbing all of that into me internally, and having the knowing that no matter what's ever said to me, I'm still going to be me. And it's up to me to make the decision if I'm going to let it destroy me or if I'm going to help it make me stronger. Because the character Storm went through a lot of stuff, but it
Yes.
made her
Yes.
stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and the movie version is one thing, but when you actually read the comic book,
Ah.
she went through a lot. And I think even now, with both of my parents being deceased, and she lost her parents very early, as it's written in her storyline.
Mm-hmm.
um after my parents died, I think I grew more of a connection with this character, because despite her parents being gone, she was able to seek and gain guidance from other people in her life. And that's something exactly what I had to do, and I did. And so that's why I really connect with specifically that character. But then when I think about other characters that I admire and follow, that's what they do. They get plummeted, but then they pick themselves up and they keep going. And even though, like I said, even though it's fictional, somebody wrote it, somebody thought it, so it must be believable and doable to
Yeah.
get knocked down and pick yourself up. And so therefore that's why those characters connect with me. And anytime I find myself about to get into a difficult situation, I had a friend who used to watch me, and he said, what you do is you stand up, you inhale, exhale, you pop your fingers. And he said, and it's almost like you turn on your superpower.
I have to tell you, Dr. Monica, your description and the way you described all of that, I'm not brown nosing, but let me tell you, when you said, starting off to share this beautiful storyline with us, what would Jesus do? You are not, I am not, and most all of the women that I'm around, surrounded by, we're not sexist. But you said Jesus was a man. So you said, what would Storm do? That resonated to the marrow of my bones, because that's what we as women, as far as the strength of your grandmother and the women that you were around, especially, I can't say especially in the Deep South, everywhere, but the equality now that we're seeking, pure, true equality, that knowing the strength within and picking ourselves up and keep going regardless to what. I love when your friend said you snap your finger, you turn around and you just move, you go. That was a compliment in the highest, at the highest regard. I think it's great. How do you use this in the work that you're doing as far as the comic books, the superhero, the confidence of that? How do you implement that with the men and women that you're working with, contingent upon their stories and their background?
Right. Well, mostly all people have someone they admire, right?
Yes.
No matter who you are, no matter what walk of life you come from. And I'll say to them, well, is there a character you admire? Is there someone in your life you admire that you'd like to emulate, different qualities from different people that you like? And I'm able to get them to connect the pieces like that. Because when you read comic books, it does show you how to relax. Different characters have different relaxation skills. Storm loves plants. And so when she wants to relax, she goes gardening. And again, unless you read the comic book, you wouldn't know that.
I didn't.
Yeah. There's another character who likes art, and he draws when he's feeling like he needs to relax. Some just like to go for a good run and exercise when they need to relax. So you learn these things in these comic books. So then when I'm talking to my clients, my patients, I get them to tell me, well, who do you like? And usually they like somebody. Well, even if the typical is usually Batman or Superman, but that's fine. And I say, well, think about how Superman uses his time when he wants to relax. What does he do? Think about when Superman is stressed. What does he do? And I use it that way because and I say we all experience these feelings. We all get sad. We all get frustrated. We all experience loss. Even these characters, we all experience trauma, even these characters. So let's see how they use them to overcome. And maybe and of course, we don't have super skills. Nobody can really fly and do all the things, but I know one person said, well, I really want to fly. And I said, well, go learn how to fly a plane. That's about the closest thing you can do.
Sage, very sage.
And I said, you spending all of this money on drugs. This was somebody who was addicted. And I was like, think about all the thousands of dollars you have spent on drugs.
Right.
You could take that same amount of thousands of dollars and go learn how to fly a plane. And he just sat there and he was like, I've never thought about that. I said, well, let's think outside of the box.
Oh my goodness.
Let's stop thinking within the confines of what you believe that you must be, and think outside of the box. And he came back a few days later and he said, I did go register to take the class. And I don't know if he fully followed through, because by this point I was done working with him. But at least he went and registered. At least he went, at least he
Exactly.
made the first step. So yeah.
Exactly. I think that when you said everybody has somebody, I don't know where that noise is coming from, somebody that they admire. I really can see that. And I have to say, Dr. Monica, that you have ignited in me the desire to go and read the comic book, because I didn't know. I saw the movie and fell in love with the whole movie, everything about it, the mutants and the diversity and all of that. But I didn't know about some of the other things. So it compels me to want to read the comic books now. And then this thing about picking up whatever it is that you admire in someone and then beginning to initiate it, what you gave the person who was wasting money in another direction, whether he did or not is irrelevant. At least you ignited something in him. That
Exactly.
whether stories are stories. But you know what you said too, that you left me with, and I've thought about this a lot, and I'm asking for permission to, because I love this expression. You and your partner came up with this superhero confidence thing, which says, have you met you? How did you come up with that? Because that's brilliant, the subtlety and the simplicity of it. Have you met you yet?
Right. We came up with that because we were tossing a lot of things around and trying to figure out how the best way to coach people and to help people. And, there's this thing called the dimensions of wellness, but we took it and refashioned it to modernized it a bit and made it more digestible, if we can say. And we both understood, and we both came from situations where you had to figure out how to fit in to whatever the environment in which you were in. And while that was happening, you were losing the person you really wanted to be, or losing pieces of you that you had to let go, or you were told you couldn't do because you were a girl, or you couldn't do because you were this, you couldn't do, and not fully being able to be your full self. And I thought, I always teach a lot about having a good relationship with yourself.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
and so one day I said, people just haven't really met themselves. They just really don't know who they are, because they're so busy trying to fulfill other things that other people want them to be. And
Yes.
And she said, yeah, it's like, just have you met you? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the name of our program. Have you met you?
I just love it. And everything that you just said, Monica, it fits into people who want and have that need to fit in, because they're not fully being themselves, and they haven't acknowledged being out of the box and being who they are, and have they met and know who they are. I mean, and today especially, we're in this instant entitlement society, and it's not because of the stage that I'm in, but I just love that when, I don't know if it was you or Elizabeth mentioned that to me, but have you met you? What type of coaching superhero programs are you building around that title?
So have you met you is actually separate from Superhero Confidence.
Okay, good.
Separate, but the same, but separate.
Got it.
Superhero Confidence is really, really focusing in on helping people develop their confidence, right?
Good.
Have you met you is the full package. It's really having them not only explore just their confidence, but have a person explore all the parts of themselves. So their finances, their health, their fitness, their culture, and their environment. So when you think about your environment, it's not what's outside of your door, it's what's in your home. how you're choosing to decorate. Is that you or is that somebody else? Are you decorating a certain way because you think that's what's modern or what's expected? Or are you decorating this way because you want to? And I'm really telling on myself right now.
Go.
My living room looks like the inside of Jeannie's bottle from I Dream of Jeannie.
Yes.
And so when my aunt came to visit not too long ago, she said, your room is so Persian. And I said, and I got excited, and I was like, is it really? I was very happy. And I said, Auntie, her name is Ruby, and I said, Auntie Ruby, as soon as I saw I Dream of Jeannie, and I saw the inside of her bottle, and she had all these pillows, and it was I was like, I fell in love with that look. And ever since then, I always said, if I ever was in a position to have my own, I was little, and I was like, if I've ever had my own living room, it's going to look just like that. That's how it looks.
They say the louder you laugh, the truer it is, and something is resonating within you about whatever's being said. And I saw you from the beginning as a compliment, nothing else. You are out of the box, but out of the box is a good thing. And so you're supporting and not supposedly, you're supporting others to get themselves out of the box and not wanting to necessarily always have to feel that they have to fit in.
Right.
And that's a gift that you're sharing with others. And I think it's beautiful. And I mean, all of these things that you're bringing up, the X-Men and Wonder Woman and I Dream of Jeannie, all of these things, it's showing how impressionable we are and how we admire different things at different stages of our lives and how we begin to incorporate it within ourselves. I think it's more. I had this meeting today, and I think I want to run this by you. I don't think I'm going to. This lady was talking about the difference between communications and self-talk, and external. That confidence is external. You can kind of fake or show that off in a different way, but self-worth is internal. It's something internal. How does that resonate with you? Because as soon as I heard that, Dr. Monica, something within me said, that's a point, because a lot of people have pseudo-fake facade type of confidence. It's not really there. And if you're empathic or compatible at all, you can sense and feel it. Does that make any sense to you?
It does. It really does. And Have You Met You is our self-worth component, because whereas, again, the superhero confidence is a piece of the Have You Met You. Because a person definitely can experience confidence internally, but the lady you spoke to, it is internal as well as external, because there's the external, I want to say exhibition, but that's really not the word. Expression. The external expression of confidence. So it's how you choose to dress, or how you decorate your home, or how you walk. It's seen externally. Yes. And I have to add that confidence moves from place to place, because you may be confident in one thing, but not confident in something else.
Exactly.
You see, but then your self-worth always will remain the same.
Yes.
So once you build that strong self-worth, no matter what situation that you're in, for example, I can't slam dunk, and I know I can't. I have no confidence that I'm able to do that. There is no self-efficacy around being able to slam dunk. But that does not change my self-worth, how I feel about myself internally. So she is right when you look at it from that perspective. And so the superhero confidence piece is really helping people really look at, okay, what am I good at, and how can I appreciate what I know I'm good at, whatever that thing is.
Right.
And
And do you think that value, your sense of what you value and your own sense of what is valuable to you and what worth means to you comes into that component as well?
exactly,
Meaning
exactly.
that
So
the confidence that you're exuding and your own sense of self-worth, it's based a lot on what your own values are. I think
exactly,
that's what she was
exactly.
attempting to convey.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that, how did you get into, I think you shared it with us, but give me a little bit more broad base, because working with mental health and substance abuse, that's a big category.
Yeah.
And what is the underlying connection between the two, mental health and
So
substance abuse?
so the truth of the matter is, my
Hmm?
parents conspired against me to make sure that.
You're too funny.
So my father often said, all of your friends come to you with all of their problems, which
Yeah.
was, he said, I think you could be a really good psychologist. I didn't really even know what that was. But and he said, I think you could be a really good psychologist. And then he added, and move to California, because all of those and he used the expletive are
You're
crazy out there.
cracking me up. Yes,
And
yes.
my mother what told me I needed to go to this particular school because this was the school she went to, and if it was good enough for her, it would be good enough for me. So between the two of them, because my plan was fashion merchandising and
I love it.
magazine
Yes.
editing. That's what I
Oh,
wanted to do. I
right.
wanted to be a magazine editor of a fashion magazine. That was my trajectory. That's where I was headed. I was going to move to New York because my godmother lived in New York, and I was going to live with her. And I just had it all pulled together.
I love it. You're
And,
cracking me up.
but my father was determined to make me a psychologist, and my mother was determined for me to go to this particular HBCU, which was Prairie View A&M University. So she went ahead and applied for me and sent my SAT scores to the school. And one day after school, she let me know that I had received a scholarship from Prairie View, and I was like, I didn't even apply
You
there.
weren't even trying.
I was like, what are you talking about? So yeah, so that's how that
That
happened.
is that is the
And,
funniest story. And Monica, when I'm laughing, I'm cracking up. I can't stop laughing. And your father said, "Move to California and use a few choice words,"
uh-huh.
because the people out there need you maybe
Yeah,
more than.
exactly. And ironically, this is where I ended up. I think even beyond his grave, he conspired to make sure that this happened, that I moved to California.
That is so funny. That's just beyond. But based on that, here's a question I have for you, because I'm always out of the box myself, and it's something that I think I have a handle on it, but I want your explanation. There are so many people, Dr. Monica, who are so gifted, so talented. You used a small analogy in the beginning, but yet their personal lives are a mess. And especially if they're in the entertainment industry, whatever realm they're in, and one that and the drugs is just rampant there.
Hmm.
And I want to know from you, what is your explanation of it? I have mine, which I'll share with you before or after, whichever, but that's always puzzled me somewhat, because you can be so gifted and so talented and so skilled in something, and then just it's destroyed through something that's not good for you. What is
Right.
that?
So I've always believed this, and I'm just going to add, my father was addicted to alcohol. That's what caused his death. He died at the age of 47, and I had not even finished college. I was in my senior year, and he literally passed away 10 days before my 21st birthday.
Oh, oh.
And so yeah.
You
But
know, to interject here, it runs rampant in my family too, alcoholism. In
yeah.
fact, yeah, it's prevalent. Yes, go ahead.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. Mm.
So with that, I have come to learn that addiction really is a symptom of another trauma or
Yes.
another problem.
Yes.
Real recently, I found out that my grandfather, his father, was killed, and it was a hate crime. It was a racial hate crime. I knew he died in a bad way, but I never really knew why. So, as the adults in my family are becoming more and more senior, I'm
Yes,
calling
yes.
them to find out the secrets that they tried to keep from us as
Exactly. Yeah.
children. So I called my father's first cousin, and I said, I just want to know what happened. What's the real story with my grandfather? And so she told me, and I was in my mother's womb when this happened.
Ah.
Yes. And so my father, I think, never got over his father's death and the way his father died, and the trauma of that experience, and just the other, growing up in Southern during the time frame in which he grew up in, because if my father was still alive, he'd be 82 right now. So you can imagine what his childhood may have been like,
Exactly.
living in the South. And so just really understanding and knowing that as a Black man trying to raise a family in the 60s and the 70s, and the gaslighting and the blocks and the this and the that, I'm sure
Played a part.
In depression, anxiety, and trauma. And so from that, the only outlet that you really have in some cases is alcohol.
Or drugs.
Because it's not cool to go see a therapist.
No.
Especially in the Black community.
Exactly.
For a long time.
But something else that you alluded to, which I have to speak to, Dr. Monica, is that back in the day, all these secrets were contained within the family as much as possible. But today, with this technology, which we're on here now, everything is out in the open. It's like you can't really keep secrets anymore, because if somebody wants to know, they're going to find out. But back in my time, your time, that was very prevalent. But I want to ask you something else. I heard a symptom of another symptom. I can concur and agree with that, not having the credentials that you have. But what about unfulfilled desires? I mean, even with all these gifts and maybe not getting the love that they want, or maybe not developing the time, something about that I think fits into. Have you found that to be?
Yes. And what we see as an adult, speaking of secrets, we don't know what things were like as a child.
No clue.
No clue. So then, even when we talk about the movie stars and the singers and the performers and all that, until you really speak to them, you really don't know what their childhood was like. And some have been very honest and open about their childhoods. Many of them did come from very abusive environments. And it's the lack of validation, the lack of acceptance, that why many people go into the theater, because they can sort of hide behind these characters.
Yes. Oh, good word. Yes.
And which, that's fine, because we sublimate what hurts us. We find a way to, that's a defense mechanism to sublimate that whatever hurts us, you find a way to handle it. And that's what happens. But you can only fake it for so long. And then that's why people start using drugs, getting high, drinking, because in many cases they just want to be numb, and they don't want to think about the trauma. They don't want to think about the sadness. They don't want to think about what's really ailing them. And so they use to get numb.
Dr. Monica, I'm going to piggyback on that because I think this is aligned with it. Please correct me if I'm not on point here because it's okay. But I think oftentimes, especially entertainment, the singers and the entertainers and they come out and they give us their heart, their soul, they give us everything. And most of us enjoy it to the max, but they're drained when it's over. And if that life, when they step off the stage, or if that doesn't give them back something, if they don't have that, and that symptom of another trauma that's happened, that's easy for them to succumb to this type of, does that make any sense at all?
That does make sense because there's the self-worth, back to the self-worth. If that hasn't been developed well enough, then and the performance, because they want the feedback, they want the accolades, they want
applause,
applause, because that feeds into that love and self-worth. But if they have not really fully developed their own internal self-worth, and that's the self-worth to me, if all of this didn't happen, am I still me?
Have you met you?
Have you met you? If I never made a movie, if I never had a singing contract, if I never had a top one song, top Billboard #1 song, am I still me? And so that's that self-worth piece and that self-confidence piece, that no matter what happens, I'm still me. And I honestly, I do know that that's hard. That's a hard thing to deal with. Listen, it's very hard. I've had some losses. I've had things that I thought were gonna go this way and they didn't. They went a completely different way, and had that moment of, what's wrong with me? Why can't I? It's so I've been there too.
Well, my friend, I think we all have. Yeah, we all have in different ways. You're leaving me with so many jewels here. Have you met you? Am I still me? And along with that, the way that most of us have been able to understand a lot of our own journey of self-knowing, because that thing about know thyself from the beginning of time, I've always embraced that and wanted to know. And then I'm leaving you with this, and I want you to end with us. Tell us what you think about this. I read at a young age, like I was a voracious reader, The Three Musketeers, and that all for one and one for all just resonated to the marrow of my bones, and especially today for us women. Why do you think that's so important for all of us, regardless of sex, male or female, because it's all about gender, not so much sex? Why does that resonate so much for most of us? Because it is all for one and one for all, because we are a collective.
We are a collective, and we all live on this planet, and we all want... I pause because I know not all of us think this way. But
I know what you mean.
Those of us who do think this way, we all want to see each other thrive. We all want to see each other be healthy and be able to feed our children and be able to do those things that you want to do, to be freely able to step outside of the box. We all really want to be able to do that. And we all have different boxes, and we all have different size boxes, but we all want to be able to do the thing it is that we want to do freely, without judgment, without expectation, and just to be. And those of us who want that, that's why we need to come together. And I truly believe it's more of us that think that way than there are those who want to put people down. I think it's more of us that collectively want to see everyone succeed, as opposed to those that want to see people fail.
Well, when you say, Dr. Monica, those of us, I know what you mean, but what, and those of us, what do you mean? You mean the trailblazers, the pioneers, how do you mean that? Because what you said earlier, it's never all, it's some, many, most of us are doing what? We're,
Yeah. So I think it's, when I say all of us, I mean all of us as humans.
Yes.
At whatever level and I don't want to use the word class, but however much money you have, whatever race you are, whatever ethnicity you are, whatever
Yes.
country you come from,
Mhm.
all of us who have the thought process that we just want to see everybody be okay, no
Yes.
matter where they are.
Oh
I
my
just
goodness.
I just want you to be happy. And not even happy, because happiness is fleeting. Like, this can make me happy
Mm.
and it's done. That can make me happy. But that joy that is always constant. I've long time, I
Mm.
can't even remember who wrote this book, but I read this book many moons ago, The
Mhm.
Joy That Lasts. And it just really
Mhm.
stayed with me. And I think about, no matter how much I have, what I don't have, still finding that joy within what it is that you have.
And my friend,
It,
it's a journey, isn't it? It's a
it is,
journey.
and it's a little nugget. I particularly do not live in a place where I would really, really want to. However, the joy that I have is that everyone in this complex, we all know each other. And we
Yes.
all watch out for each other. And the one man is an amazing horticulturist, and we were talking about the other day, trying to convince the landlord to move some plants so we could plant a vegetable garden. And I said, well, you keep working on it, I'll come and help you.
I love it.
Like, I
You
don't
know
mind
what?
dirty, let's do it.
Oh my God. You know what? You've ended on such a great note here, because what you just ended with is a community, a group of people in the same vicinity that are supportive and loving and looking after and caring for each other. And that in itself is what we're all about in this awakening. What pearls of wisdom, what do you want to leave us with? Because you have to come back again, and you will, because you shared so much and we kind of brushed through a lot of it. But I love it that you are all about the superhero, especially as it relates to the female gender, not being a sexist. But
Not
share with
being,
us any pearls of wisdom that you want to leave us with.
I would say, so two things. I would say, first off, no matter who you are, where you are worthy. You are
Mm,
worthy to exist. You are worthy to be whatever that be you want to create. As long as you're not a serial killer, whatever be you want to
yes,
create for yourself, you have the right to do that. That's number one. And
yes,
then number two, if you don't know how to do that, find a
yes.
superhero that you can emulate.
Oh, I love that.
So if
I
you
love
don't know really how to be strong, pick a superhero, or at least someone in your world that you admire, that you can learn how to be strong from that person.
it. Ah,
I learned my strength from my truly strength. I learned from my grandmother.
grandmother, yeah.
The the comic book was gravy, but to really learn my strength, I got from my grandmother, and
Mm.
she's the strongest woman that I've ever met.
Ah, God
And
bless our grandmothers.
yeah,
Dr. Monica, the time is gone here. I don't know where it went quickly, but I have to say that you have given us so many pearls of wisdom, so much love and enlightenment. And all of your information will be scrolling across. I will get this back to you. But in the meantime, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, because this new radio show that we're doing, Woomology with Fave Unite, it's going to be epic. It's all about cultivating a space where women can come and lead the conversations that are geared for now and the future. Thought provoking, which is what you've left us with. And my leaders in light, love, and legacy, and you're my first featured guest, and I'm honored to have you here. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. We'll be back in touch real soon. You be well and take care. And I send to all of you out there, as my friend Dr. Monica said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are, all the best and much love. We'll be in touch. Cheers.